Good morning, riders, and welcome back to CR Rider News, Quarantine Edition. We're coming from our home into your home for these trying times. Not literally, though, don't worry. The CRN Arvid team would like to bring you the CR Rider News right now during all this so that you might discover some new information or get a smidge of entertainment out of all this. So, without any further ado, I will present 5 facts about the increasingly threatening coronavirus pandemic. Fact number 1, this virus is not limited to any race or ethnicity whatsoever, so please do not spread any information saying such. Fact number 2, even if you are of good health and good immune system, please keep yourself safe and away from any threat of getting the virus, because you might be safe, but your loved ones and anyone that might be at risk are not, so please. Fact number 3, there are 3, see what I did there? 3 symptoms of the coronavirus. 1, fever. 2, cough. 3, shortness of breath. Fact number 4, wash your hands for a good 20 seconds to try to lower your risk of infection. Maybe play around in the water for a good 20 seconds, sing a song while you're doing it. I don't know. As long as you completely cover your hands in soap and wash them off thoroughly, you'll be perfectly fine. Fact number 5, do not touch your face, because germs, bacteria, even the virus itself might be on your hands, which is why we wash them. So touching your face might bring the virus closer to your lungs, esophagus, and things like that. So please limit touching of face. Anyway, that is all the facts I have for you today. I will see you back at the anchoring. Now that I've given you my facts for the day, let's see what our teacher, Miss Knable, and Colonel Berger have in store for us.
This is Mrs. Knable with CRN Rider News. I have with me Colonel Mitch Berger, who is a 32-year veteran of the Air Force, and he is also the JROTC instructor at Caesar Rodney High School. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the current situation that we are in. I think an interesting thing to talk about in this situation that many of us have not dealt with is how this is similar to an individual who would be deployed for the military.
Sure. A couple days into this, I was kind of having this strange feeling, because it was a familiar feeling, actually. It just felt like this was a deployment. You know, you're isolated, your movement is restricted, your diet is affected depending on what food you can get and how many times you want to go to the grocery store. There's some anxiety about the newness and the fears probably of anything new. The first 10 years of my career I went in 1980. So from 1980 until 9/11, the military was very different. But once 9/11 happened, for the final 22 years of my career, we were basically at war. And so it was a completely different mindset, a completely different environment. You were deploying on a moment's notice in many cases. And so when you have a family, when you have kids, when you have a life that plans that you had for that period of time, say, and all that changes, it's not just you. We're all dealing with the same things, and we're trying to get a mission done. And so what Sarge always says is life is 5% what happens to you and 95% how you deal with that. And so that's the mode we're in right now.
And one of the things you mentioned was a feeling of anxiety that can happen. Can you suggest how we as individuals can try to come up with schedules and routines during this time to help ourselves in this situation?
Yeah, that's a great question, because the biggest part of the anxiety, I think, is the lack of control that you feel on what's going on in your life. So when you get into a routine, I think that's a big part of it. And so when we were deployed, you had a 12-hour shift basically that you were going to work, and you had to fit everything else that you were going to do in the other 12 hours of that day. And so how are you going to use that time? So what I would always do is get into a routine of eat breakfast. I would do my 12 hours. I would go grab something to eat, wait maybe a half hour, and then I'd go get my workout in. And then also, I believe very strongly in is you should be doing something to improve yourself when you have this time as well. Establishing that routine will help the days go by faster, and it'll put as much control as you can back in your own hands in what you're experiencing.
Do you have other ideas of things that they could do to improve themselves?
That's a big part of ROTC, is getting these cadets out of their comfort zone to be leaders, to have to counsel other students that are their friends and get a mission done. And when you're done, you will mentally feel better that you accomplished something, because that's a big part of it. And getting those little wins build into bigger wins. So whether it's a homework routine, whether it's getting to read more, whether it's having them do some physical exercise and working that into the routine, this is an opportunity for them to change the routine in their life. Going back to classes on Zoom is another change. And so we've spent 2 weeks with a pretty radical change in everybody's life, but you have to be willing to jump back into that routine as well. Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it. We're all part of the CR family.
That's right. Go Riders.
Thank you, Colonel. Now let's turn it over to our editor, Derek the Smith.
Hey guys, I just wanted to make a little side note before we wrap up here for the week. I know that with this whole quarantine thing happening, we're all stuck in our homes. It's pretty boring. Of course, it's super important that we don't stop self-isolating no matter how bored we get. That said, one thing is for sure. Right now, we have more time than ever to do something meaningful for ourselves, our loved ones, or the community. Rebooting the Writer News is how we in the ARVED classes have decided to contribute to our local community. It's something that we can do to exercise our skills and talents while also providing much needed information and entertainment to everybody who's part of the CR school district. And I think that's a really important thing for all of us to try to do. Now is a fantastic time to exercise your talents and do something meaningful for others in any way you can. Because of this, I want to present to you some opportunities to stay involved in something outside of the drone and bore of quarantine. Firstly, I'm continuing to hold the CR Talent and Performing Arts Club over Zoom for those who want to share their talents. Want to be a part of it? Let us know right there. Secondly, I want to start hosting an art gallery right here on the Writer News. I will be announcing a new theme every episode, and you can have your art featured here on the Writer News up to once a week. For example, this week's theme is isolation. If you would like to submit your artwork, DM us at CRHSArved on Instagram. As of now, I will take any visual art submissions and musical submissions as well. And if your art is not in one of those forms, let us know. We can work something out. And lastly, I'm accepting ideas for future quarantine stories on the CR Writer News. I want to hear your stories. It could be about how your loved one has been affected by the virus, or it could be a funny bit about your daily routine, or it could just be an idea that we could produce from behind the scenes for you. If you got any of these ideas, just DM us at CRHSArved and let us know. The most important thing anybody can do right now is be patient and be strong. It's not fun, but just by staying home, you are saving lives. This is a crisis, but we will get it through it alone and together. Please stay safe and remember to tune in weekly for Writer News content every Friday.